Hey guys, what's up? It's Cyrus. So, just to start off, today the subject I'm going to be talking about are not technically cryptids, even though a lot of people put them into the cryptid category, but they're actually Navajo legends. So, the first one I'm going to be talking about is, I'm just going to be calling them SWs because while I'm not like, oh my god, they're out there and they're gonna come get me, it's considered taboo in Native American legend, so I would rather just call them SWs. So I'm also going to be talking about Wendigos in this video today, just because they're both pretty similar and, they're from the same area. So I just figured I would cover them in one video. By no means am I an expert on Native American anything. So I tried to research this as best as I could across as many different places as I could to kind of keep it like as close to the actual legend as possible. If not, I am sorry. Like I said, I am not an expert. It's something that's really interesting to me and I just want to share it with you guys. If you didn't know, Navajo people are traditionally healers and medicine people. Although the traditional healers learn both good and magic, it's only so they can defend themselves against the bad magic. SWs are going to be these bad or harmful witches that can transform into any animal. They can also hide in plain sight. Legends say that they walk free during the day and just hide at night. They take on characteristics of the animals that they are morphing into. They're not really human and they're not really animals, but they can run really fast and they can jump really high and they're loud and they're scary, and if you come across one, I don't even know what to tell you besides maybe play dead and it'll leave you alone. I don't even know. Some legends also say that SWs can control other night animals like wolves and owls. Some can even reanimate dead corpses by calling upon the spirits. They can also supposedly take possession of humans if they lock eyes. So like I said, if you walk into one, just again, play dead, I guess, hurricane position. I don't even really know. Now, this is where I saw some stuff on certain places and not other places, but I'm just going to combine, like, as many things as I read to just, kind of give an overview. So, apparently, these bad medicine men join, like, a secret society, and they perform dark rituals and do evil things like sacrifice people and eat animals and stuff like that. And that is how they, like, turn into an SW. To stay alive, they have to continue to do the bad magic. So they, like, rob graves to look for riches. They search for different ingredients for black magic. Or they just kill or die themselves. You can also turn into one by committing, like, certain taboos. Like sending your family members to the other side of the forest or touching the dead. They're often blamed for bad things like illness, divorce, crops, people dying. It's really hard to find information about this purge. I saw it mentioned in a couple of different places where it was talking about SWs, but it did not give any information past, 40 people in the year. In 1996, a family reported that there were crop circles, that there were several killed and mutilated cows, UFO sightings, and SWs were to blame for it. One night, the dad was out walking his dog. His dog started, like, dogging, okay? And he looked and saw this giant red-eyed figure, and he took his gun, and he shot 3 shots into the side of it, and it was completely unfazed. On a different night a little while later, the same guy was outside with his dog, and he heard voices off in the distance that sounded like a language that he had never heard. The dog, bonkers, just completely bonkers, and went straight inside, but the dad never saw anything. The family sold that ranch after just 18 months of living there. Several families have lived in the same area, and they have definitely had different reports over the years of, different SW activity. This place is known, I'm only going to say it this one time, as Skinwalker Ranch. The next guy that bought it set up surveillance all over the place, and he set up the National Institute for Discovery Science. One of the employees was just out doing his thing, and he saw a giant humanoid creature just chilling in a tree 15 meters away. He shot at it, and it just turned around and left. It left claw marks and imprints on the ground from where it landed after jumping out of the tree. There have been over 100 incidents since this guy bought the ranch. I just want you to know that the legend of the SWs has spun several different shows, movies, and books. There's also a show called The Secret of SW Ranch. And if you're into ghost adventures, they have an episode that takes place at the ranch too. And I may have slept with a nightlight on after I watched that episode because that is freaky. Alright, so now I'm going to be talking about Wendigos. This is also a Native American legend. Most versions spoke of a really big creature that was over 15 feet tall that had once been a human but has now been transformed into something a little scary by magic. Though the description of the creature does vary slightly depending on who you ask and where you go, typically the Wendigo is said to have glowing eyes, long yellowed fangs, terrible claws, and overly long tongues. Sometimes they're described as having yellowish skin, and other times they are covered in matted hair. The creature is said to have several skills and powers, including stealth. It's a near perfect hunter. It knows and uses every inch of the territory it's in, and it can control the weather through dark magic. They are also portrayed as simultaneously gluttonous and emaciated from starvation. These are going to be evil spirits from the plains and Great Lake natives, as well as some of the First Nation. They're often described as giants that grow in proportion to what it eats, but it's never not hungry. Because of this, it's extremely thin due to starvation. They're malevolent spirits with human-like characteristics, which also can possess human beings. It often leads to cannibalism and wanting to commit murder. Some are represented by a giant humanoid that smells. Pictures often depict Wendigos as like a human-beast hybrid, but none of this was ever in the traditional indigenous legends. But in some traditions, people that are overpowered by greed can turn into Wendigos. Other sources say Wendigos are because of humans committing cannibalism, or they spend too much time hanging out with Wendigos. There was a story of a starving hunter who pretty much ate his friends and became a Wendigo. Between the late 1800s and the 1920s, there were a lot of reports in North Minnesota about Wendigos, and every time there was a report, someone unexpectedly died. There's reports of Wendigos in Canada. And now I want to talk about how they explain Wendigos, because I just think, I mean, it has a psychosis, okay? It's called Wendigo psychosis. It's a syndrome that creates intense craving for human flesh and the fear of becoming a cannibal. Ironically, this occurs around Canada in the Great Lake area. It usually develops in the winter when you're pretty much cut off from everything around you and you really have no choice but to, eat your family. First, you're going to have a poor appetite, you're going to have nausea, and you're going to have vomiting. And then you think that you are now a Wendigo. You have now transformed into a Wendigo. People who have this psychosis, once they have turned into said Wendigo, thinks that people around them are now edible, but at the same time, they still have that exaggerated fear of becoming a cannibal. The psychosis dates back to as early as 1661, and there's a really famous story about this guy named Swift Runner between 1878 and 1879 that succumbed to the psychosis after his oldest son died of starvation. He murdered his wife and his 5 remaining children and ate them, even though there was an emergency food post only 25 miles away. So that is all I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys really like this video. I don't know. I like doing research on the internet and I like talking about the things. So hopefully you guys stick around and see what else. If you have any ideas of anything that I should cover or talk about, drop it in the comments. If you just want to talk about anything, drop it in the comments. If you want to say that I hate the video, also drop that in the comments, because all publicity is good publicity, says that one Korean show that I watched. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.